Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another AFLW Fantasy Fanatics pre-lockout chat on a Saturday morning ahead of round two. We haven't had any games start. No Thursday or Friday night games, so all the games on Saturday and Sunday. So we're building up to plenty of AFLW action across the weekend. I'm your host, Bales, and you can find me at BAILSDT across the socials. And joining me, as always, is my co-host and fellow AFLW Fantasy Fanatic, Tom Hales. Tom, mate, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Weird doing a pod on a Saturday, but going to be interesting to see all the games condensed into 2 days and overlaps, which is a little bit disappointing that we can't consume everything all at once. But looking forward to a chat with some interesting trade decisions to make for the first lockout in an hour or so.
Yep, exactly. It's going to be weird because I won't be able to watch the first game because the Crows are playing the men's at the exact same time. But after that, I'll be fine to be watching all the games. And joining us, we're a couple minutes late. We're just getting some sort of technical difficulties all fixed up. But a good friend of the show, Jono from Free Kick, the official AFLW Fantasy podcast, has jumped on with us for a chat. Jono, mate, how are you? Thanks for jumping on for the first time this AFLW Fantasy season.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. It's good to be here. It is very strange with the Saturday lockout. I really didn't know what to do with myself. I feel like there's too much time to just make stupid trade decisions. So I've been fretting all morning and making silly calls, but I've reverted back to what I had last night, and I'm hoping that's okay. But we'll see how it tracks over the next hour.
Yep, exactly. Well, I'm sure everyone got the recap on the free kick pod, mate. But how did you go in round one? And sort of let us know what you scored, and then what you're sort of leaning towards into your trades as we sort of discuss a little bit about that. Before we get into the questions, so if you guys are tuning in live, chuck it in the live chat. We'll answer as many questions we can get to. But, mate, how did round one go for you, and what are you looking at doing this week?
Yeah, so round one had a 1,228, which I think is okay. I've ended up around the 4,000 mark, and I think like the bones of my team are fine. I just had a few disappointing scores on field. Like had I, started some bench players on instead, I think I actually would have been better off. So I think it's a pretty quick rejig to try and get the team back in order. Yeah, I don't know. How did you guys fare?
Well, Tom, you can go first.
Yeah, I got a 1237, so about 3.5K ish. Kind of a very standard content creator groupthink week. And this is where the season really starts. 33 trades to go, and that it's a trading game at the end of the day. So trying to make the right ones in this first week to set us up for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and I'm the 8 points better than you, mate. So 12:45. So we're all really bunched up into together. Like if you, as I said, like as I went through the results on, I think it was Tuesday. If you looked at the Content Creators Cup, so like obviously the free kick team, obviously including yourself, Jono, JS Jackson, myself, Tom, and then good friends DC and Jake from Hat Chat, and then obviously our very own Jaiden as well. All the 10. The scores were all pretty similar. Everyone went over 1199. Well, sorry, no, 1185. So it was between 1185 and 1267 was the main group of coaches, with Jake and DC, the two that went over 1300. So it's all really condensed in terms of scoring. So I think a lot of coaches scored around that sort of low 1200s, mid 1200s. I think that was probably standard. If you caught the couple of unfortunate ones, you might have got mid, I reckon, 1100s. So, but we do have a couple of issues to deal with this week, and we got rookies to bring in. And for those that have played the men's version of fantasy, it's a lot easier to jump on a rookie because in fantasy, they don't go up very much, or Supercoach Dream Team, you can jump on them after a couple of weeks. But in AFLW Fantasy, that is not the case. If you miss a rookie, you almost miss them. Like Lucia Painter, for example, had a great first week, looked absolutely amazing with a 95, but she's already up to 578K, which is a lot to pay for a rookie, but we might need to with this cash in. Havana Harris also went really well, and she's up, I think, at 588, so she's nearly 600K. Jono, I guess, how are we going to prioritize bringing these rookies in? Because I think we've got to find cash from somewhere. And I don't know about you, but the two main areas that I can find cash is either downgrading a big mid or downgrading someone in the ruck if you started a bigger ruck and going down Havana Harris. It's a hard decision, I think, because a lot of people don't want to trade a premium mid or a premium ruck. But if you had to lean one way, where would you go? Because I guess if you're going down Harris, you got a player on field. If you go big mid down, it's probably a zippy fish on field. but you're going one of those big mids all the way down. You got to find the cash, then go back up. Where are you leaning at the moment with sort of where you'd be finding the cash to get these rookies in?
Yeah, it's a tricky one because it just feels wrong getting rid of these one big mids because they're so expensive by comparison to everything else. So it's kind of strange, but I think in my mind, it's probably the rucks because I think they're all going down anyway. So I'm pretty open to bringing in a Havana Harris who's got a good run. But that said, I think it depends on your ruck. So I think if you've got Mimstrom, I think even though she's going down, you're still going to get that separation from everyone else with the scoring. So I wouldn't worry there. I'm happy to back in Lucy Wales, who I've got in my team, but I can see a lot of other options have really not taken off. So I can understand why people are doing that. I'm actually personally going the midfield route, and I don't know. I know Liam's looking at downgrading Laurie Gardner this week. I think she was pretty good. I'm happy to go row bottom down just because I think she's probably going to struggle this season if stoppages don't come back up. So I'm kind of happy to take my chances there. But geez, it doesn't feel great in either way. I'm almost certain that once I trade row to bottom out, she's going to go 120. So I feel like it's something that's really going to bite if it goes wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I guess where I've and Eloise and Liam, shout out to those two. They know how I'm feeling this week. Overthinking trades, as always do round one. And I need to, it's not healthy. I need to get back to just the line. I had a long chat with you, Jono, as well last night. And we were just chatting about sort of a couple of issues. And this exact thing came up. And Tom, where do you currently lean in terms of where you're going to get the cash? Because I've currently gone at Ange Stanhope. No, not Ange Stanhope. I've traded her out as well. But I've gone a Matilda Schultz down because I'm same line with Jono where it's like, well, the rucks are all going down. There's a chance that like Matilda Schultz and Havana Harris are the same price in 2-3 weeks because they've got Matilda Schultz a couple of tough matchups, Havana Harris a couple of good matchups. Do you think the rucks besides Mimstrom, if you've got any other ruck besides her, you'd be downgrading there? Or do you think that the mids to maybe get a zippy fish on field or even bring in a Georgia Patrikios is the way to go?
I'm doing neither of those options, so that's a whole other thing.
Well, another option.
I've got the Piper window issue, so I'm going down from Ange or Piper window. I'm doing one of them down to a rookie there to gain my cash. If you don't have Mimstrom, I would definitely not trade Mimstrom. I probably wouldn't trade Lucy Wales. I definitely am very happy ticking off any other ruck. If you want to use that as your cash, I will put a little flag on Havana Harris. She is obviously playing as a forward. She is getting up the ground. She was amazing against West Coast last week, but I wouldn't be expecting 95s for the rest of the year. I definitely see a 30 or a 40 in her future. When that is, I don't know. Hopefully for those people trading her in, it's not this week. And you can definitely do a big mid down. You've just got to not watch the game where the mid you trade out's playing because you're going to hit every touch and every tackle. I'm making a decision for my personal team. I made a decision pre-season to go with 5 big mids, and I'm going to stick fat with that. That might be at my detriment, but that's the way I'm going. Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? That I went the exact same path and went the 5 big mids. Jono, did you go the 5 as well?
I did, yeah. But I think you two had some more reliable big mids than I had. Because I think looking at your team, Tom, it's like a lower score of 94. Whilst I think the 70s for row bottom hurt a little bit more.
Got the exact same midfield,
if I had row bottom, she'd be gone. Like that. I think she's the obvious big mid to trade out if you own her. I would be doing what you're doing, Jono, if I had row bottom. Because I think she's going to lose so much cash so quickly.
Because I'm just looking at the mids. I'm not trying Georgie Prasparkas. She looked fantastic after quarter time, and she looks like she's going to make a good amount of cash for us, and hopefully has some big scores. Kira Bowers, after probably halfway through the second quarter, went back to beast mode. Bowers beast mode, as we know that she can do even before she had the pregnancy and was away for last season. And then Laura Gardner, as you mentioned, Jono, a lot of people have got her, and she's probably the one that if I was to trade someone, it'd be her. she's got Gold Coast this week. She's got a great run pretty much for the majority of the season. And she played high time on ground. I imagine that's going to continue. Again, I can see her putting up massive score. And anyone that followed us last year, I've got Ash Riddell, and I thought about trading her, but I did that last year, and she's got 150 when I traded her. So I don't think I'm going to do that again because she's a top 3 mid. And if I trade her, I'm going to have to get her back in. And then Noffy, I'm not even considering as a Crows fan. I know Will is looking at doing that, and I can certainly see a little bit of merit in it. But as a Crows fan, I can't do it to myself because I'm going to the game tomorrow, and I can't go to the game in good conscience and watch without having Marinos. So that's why I'm currently sitting with the Rucks, because I feel like if I want to pivot next week and Havana Harris doesn't do well and a Dunlop struggles again, I can go the big mid down next week. I can go the big mid down next week, get that cash, put Fish on field, and then put that on top of a Dunlop and go get a ruck that's dropped in price, or even just go get Mim Strom and just go and pay up for her and put her in at R1. So currently leaning there, but that's what we're thinking of doing. But Tom, you mentioned Piper Window, but we've also got Ange Stannett in the forward line. So Piper Window's a trade. I think we're all obviously she's out for a little bit, but Ange Stannett, what do you think about her? Because her role wasn't great last week.
To me, I think she's a trade. I think she's fit. She's going to play. She's not a must. She's not going to be a red dot. I just think she's going to lose. That forward role was pretty stinky. Kicking 2 goals to get to 44 is not great, to say the least. And I just think that cash can be repurposed elsewhere. I don't see any kind of ceiling there for Stannett. So for me, I'm jumping off at this stage. I'm using that as my kind of source of cash. I honestly think a rookie can score kind of in line with what her output will be.
Yeah, exactly. Just also for those listening along at home as well. So we've got 46 minutes until Collingwood and GOS. So obviously the final team has been finalised. And I don't know, Ash Centra is still named in the middle, smack bang in the middle. Whereas last week she was named, I believe, on the bench. So
Yeah,
I don't know. That's an interesting one. It wouldn't shock me if Ash Centra had a much better game this week, and gotta love the chat with all the Centra bounce and all the other teams and the men's teams and coaches and stuff trying to do it as well. It's pretty cool. Jono, are you pretty keen on trading Ange Stannett as well? Because that, as we've said, that role was a little bit icky, and with 2 goals to bump up that 44, it could be disastrous if she doesn't kick those goals.
Yeah, no, I definitely am. I just think once she was down forward and kicked 2 goals, but also was a great pressure forward. I think the ball was trapped down there a lot more than if she hadn't been down there. They've lost a lot of their key tools aren't playing at the moment. So I think aside from Hayley Miller and the very, very young Georgie Brisbane, you don't have a lot of experience in that forward line that can keep it down there. So I think it will probably be a role that stays. It's not going to be a high scoring role, particularly with their matchups in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, I'm pretty happy to move her on.
Yeah, agreed. So if we're moving her on, and also Piper Window obviously has got to go. If you're going, I think we'll start off with going up. Is it just as simple as Parker out, Goldsworthy in, both into our fantasy teams and into the Giants midfield?
I don't know if it's going to be a 1-for-1 role, but it's definitely going to be at least a return to what she was doing last year, which is starting in the midfield, then pushing forward. And I think that's a role that, back in the day when she scored that massive 166 a couple seasons back, she was playing that role then. So I think it's a role that I'm comfortable enough with her scoring potential. It was just that preseason where in that practice game, she did not leave that forward 50, which was wild to see. And I get it because they do need, high quality forwards down there. But I think you can't be leaving her out of that midfield and expect to be winning games, which, this is Cam Bernasconi's 4th year. I think they're desperate to get wins on the board, or else they're probably going to be looking at a coach change. So I'd be surprised if he doesn't take his best players and put them around the ball, and that's Goldsworthy every day of the week.
Yeah, exactly. Is there any other? I guess is Goldsworthy? So would you happen to bring her in this week, or do you think you could sort of wait a week and see what what the role looks like with Parker out, because obviously she's $1 million, so she's expensive. You're paying a price, but she could be 20 potential 30 points better than the next forward if those other forwards go about that 70 sort of mark, and she goes like a 90, 95.
Yeah. Sorry, Tom.
Go on, John. Go on, John.
Sorry.
No, you go.
Yeah, no, I think I think it's one where she is going to be the best forward. I'd be very, very confident in that. But I also think compared to some of the other forwards who are a little bit cheaper, she's not going to go up in price as much. So it probably depends on the rest of your team. If you're feeling very settled in your midfield, you're feeling very settled in your defense. I'm looking at my next week trades already, and I'm going, the weakest part of my line, even after all these forward changes I'm doing, is still the forward line. So I feel like if I was more confident on someone like Ash Woodland, and I want to take that risk that I'd get that cash rise, whilst someone like Goldsworthy is probably going to go up half, if they score similar, what Woodland would go, then I guess you could take that chance. It's a little bit higher risk. I think the safe play is Goldsworthy, but I wouldn't be against anyone trying to take a punt on some player that they think is going to have a similar score this week.
Yeah. Tom, your thoughts?
If I could get to Goldsworthy and with trades that I liked, I'd be getting Goldsworthy. I think she's the number one forward target if you can get there. But I know for a lot of teams that 290k, whatever it is, to go from Stanley to Goldsworthy is quite a lot of money. I'm finding that cash might not be as easy as that. Like, you don't quite have enough cash even doing like a Schultz down to a Harris. You still need another slight downgrade to be able to afford that upgrade. So I think I'm going for an Ash Woodland. I think window out might lead to a little bit more midfield time, a little bit more time around the ball for her, which hopefully, even with a tough matchup this week in North Melbourne, will lead to decent enough output. I'm not expecting her to go 80 for the rest of the year, but if she can stand and average that high 60s for the rest of the year, I think she's going to be there and thereabouts for a top 5 forward.
Yeah, great. Yep, I think Ash Woodland's another good option as well. Probably the next best one, I think, behind Zi Goldsworthy this week if you're looking for a forward. But then we've also got options down, so you can go down to someone. So Tom, who are the options that you like? I think you're looking at like a Blaine Bogue as an option. We've got Hayden McLaughlin, there's Laura Stone, Em Clark. There's one other, Ellie Hampson from Brisbane as well. So there's a few options for us.
Yeah, I think for me, I was really impressed with Bogue. In a kind of a wetter, tougher game against Geelong last week, I thought even without the 2 goals that she kicked, I thought she competed really well, took contested marks, got up the ground a little bit, wasn't just sat in the goal square. I do worry at her long-term job security in that North Melbourne forward line. She's kind of dodging kind of out at the minute, which we don't quite know whether she is best 21. Whereas Hayley McLaughlin maybe with an injury in that midfield as well for Hawthorn might see a little bit more time up the ground, which is only going to help their scoring. So I think I'm on McLaughlin at the minute to double up on my McLaughlins. But I think either of them are very, very strong options, and I'm fairly confident to have them on field as well. So, especially in that forward line. Yeah,
exactly. Jono, who are your favourite options? Because there's a few, including a couple of your Hawks girls as well.
Yeah, I think Blaine Bogue is a great one. I think as long as she's playing, she's going to be a great scoring option. When it comes to the Hawks, I think McLaughlin and Stone are good options this week, because I think the Hawks have got, I feel like they've just got a good fixture for the next few weeks. They've got a good game plan for getting the ball in those hands. And I think with Jazz Fleming out, Laura Stone is probably going to get the biggest rise of any of the Hawks players between her and Casey Sheriff probably. So I think that is one that I'm tossing up still. I'm probably going McLaughlin just because I feel pretty safe in the role. But I think those would probably be the best options. I think there's a chance that Ellie Hampson ends up being better than all of them, But I feel like Brisbane are going to keep toying with that for a little bit. So I'd kind of want to see it again before I back that one in. And with Freo, their opponents this week, I don't imagine it's going to be too high scoring anyway.
Yeah. And I just think that with Sophie Conway having a poorer game, I wouldn't be shocked if she had a few extra CBAs to get that score up, because that was, I think, a lowest score ever. And it was she certainly was involved very much at all. And I thought Brisbane just weren't too great in the first game, and they sort of got close, so they just need to fix a few things up. But I'm sure that they'll get back on track. They're a very, very good team. For those that didn't watch the role, what was McLaughlin's role? Because I think if Stone goes in, it might be a bit more of that CBA role with Fleming at. But what was McLaughlin's role? Was that high half forward pushing up the ground?
Yeah, pretty much. I think she's Hawks really don't have a lot of small forwards, so I think her and Greta Bodie have sort of taken that mantle this year, and I don't really see anyone coming to take it off them. But the Hawks love to push up high and defend quite high up the ground, and then get the ball over the top and racing back. So I think she's also one of the players that had rotated through the midfield during that practice match against Richmond. And I can imagine with Fleming out, I don't expect it to be a lot, but just one or two to keep her involved, I think could definitely be a handy one. So it's nice when you have these players like Blaheem Bogue and McLaughlin who are just pushing so high up the ground and getting involved as often as they do.
Yep, exactly. And I believe that's. I don't think there's many other issues. Tom, is there any other issue we need to talk about, or before we get into the questions?
I think we can answer some questions. A few different questions flying in. So let's give the people what they want and some expert in my advice.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll start off with Eliza's question. So, Jono, do we wait a week on Goldsworthy with Taylor Levy coming in? Which I'm shocked that Taylor Levy didn't play round one, but she's now in with Parker out. Is there any cause for concern there, or do you just think that it'll just be probably Levy and Goldsworthy probably sharing that sort of the bulk of Parker's midfield minutes that are gone?
Yeah, I think, Levy will play midfield. There's no doubt about that. But, Parker's one of the highest CBA players in the whole league, let alone at the Giants. So I can imagine that even with them sharing that role, I still think that she's going to get enough time. There's certainly, as I was saying before, I think given the price she's at, it's not going to get. It's out as out of reach as it's going to be. Goldsworthy, like she's going to be very expensive all season. So if you waited 1 week, I don't think it's going to hurt you that much. But I wouldn't necessarily be waiting just because of Taylor Levy. I don't think she's going to impact it too much.
Yep. I like that one. Andrew Griffith says, I've gone row bottom to Patrikios, window to Goldsworthy, and third trade is heads to Heath. Going to keep Centra. Window injury sucks a lot. So heads or Stannett, who do I hold? So I'm assuming it's heads to Heath, or you're going Stannett to someone. Tom, I'm assuming it's be what, heads to Heath, or what? It'd be
Stannett
probably
to Woodland.
Stannett to Woodland. Yeah, I was going to say that. So
Yeah.
which are you going the Stannett out or heads out? Because the heads roll wasn't particularly good.
I think I would do Ella heads out. I think there's plenty of players in that defensive line who are going to score better. Who I think with the current heads role be more of an upgrade. One did note that she was named on ball this week, Ella Heads. I don't know if that's real or that's how they've just filled the names into the template. But I think I would trade Heads because I think Heads to Heath could be a really nice upgrade. Because Melbourne's midfield run is still fabulous for the near future.
Yep, I do like that as well. And I wonder if there's a way that if you've got like a forward potentially on the bench that you could maybe have a look at, and then maybe you go, I'll keep Window for 1 week and maybe trade Stannett. That would be the only other thing you could potentially look at. If not, yeah, I do like the heads to Heath trade as well. Bondsville Wizard, hey lads, is Woodland a good trade-in option? Yep. So we've talked about it before. We do think she is if you can't get up to Goldsworthy as well. Role looks pretty good. Tough match against North Melbourne, but I think that she'll keep going along nicely. Russell says have to hold either Stannett or Mullins. Who's the best option to hold there, Jono?
Well, firstly, I love that he's gone Charlie Mullins. That's a great pick. I don't think the role was what we wanted to see, which was a little bit disappointing. But also think that like that Brisbane game against the Hawks was a very strange one. I think it was quite windy up there. The ball wasn't finding its way to the outside as much, and the Hawks, particularly early in the match, kind of had a lot more possession than I'd say the Lions had. So I think she'll come good. And the other thing I suppose is, I don't know, I suppose it applies the same for both of them. Where I sort of think that when you're looking at who to trade out across the different lines, it's sort of where you can go. But I suppose they are both forwards. I personally think I'd give Mullins a little bit longer, because I think that's one where once they get the game on their terms a little bit, she's going to be pulling in more marks. And I think her score will follow.
Yeah, I would agree as well. Yeah, Tom?
I can tell you it's a nice day today in Perth. No. Tomorrow's going to be wet and windy. Today it's fairly nice. So just a bit of weather. I was checking when the game was. If it was tomorrow, I would be like, it is going to be wet. But it's going to be fine today. So
that's the funny thing I find about Perth, right? It's either really good weather or really, really wet. There's no in between. There's no like a little bit of drizzle. It's just one or the other. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Eliza, who's a bigger trade out, Kosh or Brown? Already have Ott in defence. Probably, John, I'm leaning towards Brown because she's got a little bit more cash on her, whereas Kosh is 300k, didn't rise. But she still had the role. Still had that ruck role, just didn't score too great. Do you have a bit more trust in Kosh moving forward, or?
Yeah, I think it's really hard to get a read on the Giants at the moment because they were absolutely thumped by the Bombers, but they did win the inside 50 count. So I've really been struggling to figure out how that sort of plays out going forward, because as a defender, I don't think Eleanor Brown was sort of the primary distributor or really involved in that as much as you'd want. Like it was really McCormick and who's the other one? Kat Smith, who was sort of getting the majority of the ball back there. So I would probably trade out Brown. It's going to be easier to find someone to go to. I think Kosh is going to be a long-term play. If O'Dowd is playing more as a midfielder with Parker out as well, then I can see Kosh having that role for a while, and it's a slow burn until she gets some cash in her head.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
It's an interesting one for me because I'm assuming you already have Wrench. So I'm assuming you're playing both of them on field. If you're not playing both of them on field and you don't have Wrench, then literally Brown to Wrench is probably the first trade I'd do. Slight flag on Wrench that she might go back just with the defensive injuries at West Coast, but I think she's still going to. I think they really like what she does in that midfield. So,
yeah, at least I think Jono raised a good point about that early in the week. That was saying that I think with Schilling out, it's probably more about having a key defender back there, and Wrench got coach's vote. So I think for at least this week it should be fine. But agreed, I think that role could shift at some point. So. But as long as she's in the midfield, I think she's going to keep scoring well. Tackles like there's no tomorrow. Like it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, if the person I'd be going to from Brown is probably someone like is it Ebert from Melbourne?
Yeah.
Ebert from Melbourne. I think that's probably your best kind of similar-ish price defender.
You got Beck Ott's the other one if you don't have.
Yeah, but in the question it says.
Oh yes, sorry, yeah, already got Beck Ott. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
So it'd be Wrench, clear one. If you don't already own, then I'd probably go them as like, and I probably would field Ott. I think.
Yeah, I'd be comfortable with that. Yeah,
I think. I think we have too much money to try and go up from that defender. If you can go up, but if you can't have the coin, then that's kind of the rookie price that I'd be looking.
We're still fielding Jess Wrench over Beckott though, correct? That's what we're doing.
We've
still got Wrench.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I was going to say because I think maybe because I wonder if Eliza's got Eleanor Brown on the bench. Just because because you said play a Beckott on field, but I was wondering if Eleanor Brown's on the bench, you'd probably say I reckon still keep Ott on the bench this week over Wrench. But it will be good that both will be making cash for us. Alex has got a bit of a question we touched on a little bit before, but if we had the 5 deep midfield, do we try to get Fish on field? So, Jono, this is obviously a question a lot of me and Tom have been asking ourselves, and we've chatted about it before. But is it just like because I guess Fish is scoring well, right? But she's making bulk cash on the bench, which is going to then give us a lot of cash from a bench rookie to be able to upgrade in the future. So, is it as much of like a you must get Fish on field because she had a great matchup and scored amazing, but can she keep and she's got another good matchup this week. Can she keep scoring, I guess, these big scores on field that we have to restructure and repurpose that cash elsewhere? Or do you think you can wait one more week? And if we have to, we can do it next week?
I think if you're going to do a restructure, now's the time to do it because she's going to score well. I don't think it's a necessity. Like, I like it on the basis that I'm getting probably the highest scoring rookie player on field, which I appreciate. It allows me to get some of the rookies off field on other lines that I'm less confident in. But, I don't think she's going to be putting up a 95 plus score every week. It might be the first and second weeks, but eventually every rookie has down games. She might start getting some attention that early in her career. And that's not something that's easy to deal with for an 18, 19-year-old. So I would be very surprised if she kept up this scoring rate for the whole season. And compared to having the 5 big mids, it will be a drop in points. And then it will eventually be someone you're going to have to find the cash to get from up to one of these $1.23 million players. So it is creating an issue in your team you're going to have to fix. I think it provides some good short-term benefits that I'm happy to ride with. But I wouldn't call it a necessity to get a fish on field.
Question for you both from me. What do we think fish averages for the next 6 weeks?
Next 6 weeks.
Because that's in 6 weeks, we're really hoping to be complete, quote unquote.
Yeah, I reckon she'd be able to go somewhere between 80, 85.
Ooh, I'm nowhere near that high.
Really?
That would make her the D1. Because she's a defender.
Yeah.
So that would make her D1. Would make her D1.
Yeah. No, I think this is going to be a long-term D1. I think she's ridiculous, but it's the teams they play. So if you look at their fixture, they've got Gold Coast, Collingwood, and the Giants all in their next 5 matches. So I can see her getting a lot of space on the outside and running with it. I definitely think in the tougher matchups, she's going to be putting up, 50s, which is going to pull her down. So, but I genuinely think there are few players on the half-back line that have anywhere near the type of role she has. I think it's pretty unique across the league. So,
I see more of a 65, 70. Just because she's a rookie defender. And that would still make a top 5 defender.
Yeah. I was thinking about 75. That's probably the number I can't with 75 to 80. But it's great for AFLW, right? That we're talking about a first gamer coming in, and Jono said she's not going to score 95 every week. It's pretty good to see these rookies coming in and having an instant impact because there's certainly not many players that can come in and have the impact that she did. So
I certainly think North Sydney Oval helped her a lot, being an absolute postage stamp of a ground. But I it's still she's still amazing, and if there was a way that I like to get her on field, I still think that's a great option.
Yeah, exactly. Daniel Lewis-Jones says, I've gone Cronin, Window, and Centra to Fitzpatrick, Ham, and India Rashid. So one of the names we didn't chat about before. Brought Fish onto the field and Wrench, VC Conti into Noff. Thoughts? So, Jono, thoughts on those trades? So Cronin, Window, Centra to Fitzpatrick, Ham, and Rashid. And then what are your thoughts on India Rashid as an option? Because she's one we haven't chatted about yet.
Yeah, I think if I didn't have Darcy Vesio in my side right now, these are the trades that I'd be doing. I really like these 3. I think Patrikios has got a great role. She's very, very underpriced for what she could deliver. I mean, she's only 200K more than Lucia Painter, which is not a big jump, really.
Who's that? Patrikios. Oh, Daniel was bringing in.
Daniel was 785.
Daniel was bringing in Patrikios. I might have said Patrikios if I did. Apologize, but Fitzpatrick, Ham, and Rashid.
Fitzpatrick,
but Patrikios is a good option as well. I agree.
Yeah. Okay, my apologies. Fitzpatrick. Yeah, Fitzpatrick. I like Fitzpatrick. I'm a little bit worried about the next 2 games, but certainly if you're already bringing in Rashid, I think Fitzpatrick is going to be amongst that good batch of rookies. So, yeah, I think definitely bring in Montana Ham. I thought she looked fantastic. I think she's far cheaper than a lot of the other kind of risky decent forwards that we're looking at. So I think worthwhile taking that bet.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm a big fan of India Rashid. I think they've got really high potential.
Yeah. What I guess was that the role was pretty good, but with Tia Charlton out, do you think that role could be better, or do you think she'll have a similar role? Because like Danielle Ponta struggled last week, I think they'll get her around the ball a little bit more. Chelsea Randall's back in again. Wouldn't be shocked if she played midfield straight up. You've got other names that can run through as well, and maybe Anne Hatcho gets more, like even more CBAs there. Do you think that it's just going to be the more experienced that take up a lot of that, like the CBA bump from Charlton being out, or do you think Rashid might get a little bit of a bump as well?
I don't think Rashid gets the CBA bump as much. I'm assuming that Chelsea Randall's going to spend a lot of time in there. But I think what Rashid showed that the rest of the team weren't doing as much of was a lot of pace, and she was line breaking. So I think it was her, Hannah Munyard, and Madison Newman that were really doing a lot of that and carrying the side there. And with Munyard going out injured, I think they're going to be looking for her a lot more. So I think that 70 score that she put up is it's something she'll be able to get close to for a few games. I think they'll be looking for her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she looked very, very good. And tell you what, Maddie Newman's a very, very good player. Very happy that she is a Crow. Bartlow, Tom says, would you tick off Centra, Rowbottom, and Stannett to Painter, Patricios, and Goldsworthy?
Yes. It needs a one-word answer. Very much yes.
Yeah.
Big tip.
I reckon if you had the not vanilla trades, but I reckon probably the popular 3 trade combos of the week, I think that would probably be it. Be going Painter, Patricios, and Goldsworthy in and trading Centra, Rowbottom. I feel like they'd be the exact same trades I'll be doing if I had Rowbottom instead of Gardner, whereas with Gardner, I'm a little bit less keen to trade. Ghost Bake says current trades: Rowbottom, Patricios, and Stannett to Goldsworthy, Centra, and Rashid. So the exact same, except just Rashid over Painter. Thoughts? Only way to get Goldsworthy is to trade Rowbottom. Is it bad to miss Harris / Painter? Was going to do Schultz to Harris. So, Jono, what are your thoughts on those trades?
Yeah, I think this is the one I was looking at before when I was saying this is what I'd do. I'm a big fan of these trades. I think I do have the same hesitation on missing out on Havana Harris, because I do think over the next 4 weeks she's going to score pretty well. I think though that there's nothing wrong with these trades at all. I would be very comfortable locking them in. Yeah.
Well, for those coaches that can't, I guess, like they can't bring in a Havana Harris or can't bring in Lucia Painter or can't bring in Aaron Fitzpatrick or one of the other rookies. Obviously, we can't pick them all, right? That's just, you're just not going to be able to get them on unless you started a couple of them. But can you miss a couple of these players? Because, like, for example, Lucia Painter played a lot forward and looked incredible, but had essentially a Murphy Reed-esque third quarter where kicked like 3 goals pretty quickly. It's going to be more of a forward role. The scoring is obviously clearly not going to be 95 every week, but can you miss a couple of these players? Like Havana Harris as well played a bit more. I think they're probably a bit different being in the ruck. I think that you can still make it work, but like Painter, Fitzpatrick, these players, can you miss a couple of these?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I think you can. I just think that there's a lot of options. So I think as long as you feel like your team has got some good cash gen going, and you haven't just got dead rookies, then I think I'm okay with missing out on some of them. I also think a lot of them are going to, it might be a 90 this week, but it's going to come in and be a 30 another week. So, the cash movements are going to jump around a lot, but I do think we have a lot of options, and it's going to be a pretty short season still. Like 12 rounds is not a lot. So I think prioritizing points on field is not the worst thing as long as you've got good cash generation coming along on the bench. I don't think you need to be jumping on every single rookie that appears. Yeah,
exactly. Well, just quickly as well, because we're obviously going through this question, but Centra's coming up a lot, right? Everyone's looking to trade after a bad score. And I don't think we can read too much into she's lined up in the middle still in final teams. But is there any confidence, Johnny, that maybe like her time on ground was lower last week? Does she get a little Tom? Yeah.
So she's warming up in the midst.
Ooh.
Okay. So at the moment, I'm
currently changing my trades, and I'm gonna put this out there. I'm currently changing my trades, and we'll come at the end. I'll tell you what I'm changing to.
Yeah,
I think, and I'm not. I'm going full transparency to you guys listening in. I'm not recommending holding Centra when you can do things with her. I am going to do it, I think, because if she's playing on ball, she is a generational scorer. And Gold Coast, not Gold Coast, GWS are soft as far as matchups come, and Colin have a very nice run for mids. So I think I'm going to ride that and fix up like a Darcy Vesio issue, which I was holding.
I
as
think
another option.
That's a play. And I guess just for John to get your thoughts is that if for those coaches that have gone Centra to Painter, Rashid, whatever, because a lot of you probably started Fish on the bench and Centra in utility, I would actually go and get Havana Harris in and trade Piper Dunlop out instead. Go Dunlop up to Harris and keep Centra potentially. That would be a bit of a way around getting a rookie, but also keeping Centra. But Jono, can you keep? You can keep Centra, right? You can do it, but what do you think? Because do you think that role maybe extra? Because she was just deep forward the whole time, the whole game. The ball was hardly wasn't down there much. Do you just think that the role could be a little bit better this week and moving forward?
I think it's going to slowly get better across the season. I've no doubt that by the end of the season, we'll be happy that we held her. And I understand that because she's a rookie that's already got a bit of cash on her head, you don't want to lose that. It's easier to move her sideways than a lot of of these players. It's just, I feel like it's in my team at least, it's very easy to see other rookies that I would be happy to move on. Piper Dunlop, as you say, is a great example. So I just don't see, given the potential upside, I just think it's really easy to hold on for a few weeks and see, where she'll go. Because if that role does play midfield today, I mean, that could be pretty exciting to watch. So,
yeah, exactly. I wonder if she's going to bring out the Centra bounce in a game. I think that's what we're waiting to watch as well. I'm watching for that as well. I'm hoping that she does. I really do. The open space, just do one. It'd be good. What do we got here? So Sean Wennell, Robonda Patricios. So we ticked that off before that we can you can definitely look at doing that trade. Bogue or Amber Clark on field, Jono, where would you go between those two?
Oh, it's a tough call. I think I'd still go with Blaine Bogue. Amber Clark was incredible last week, and against the Crows, I really didn't expect. I thought she'd go well, but I didn't expect her to do that. I think Melbourne looks to be in a little bit better form than the Crows right now. I would just be a little hesitant. But really, they're both good options. I think, as far as the rookies' forward options goes, they're both top 4 or 5. So I'd have no issue there.
Yeah, exactly. Alex, what are we doing with Vesio? So I know that Tom said he's looking at trading. I think, Jono, you're looking at trading as well.
I think after some of the conversations yesterday, I've now decided to trade Kosh out instead, and I'm just holding Vesio on the bench in the hope that it turns around. Otherwise, I'll move her on next week.
Yeah, so it looks like that lengthy discussion with a few friends of the pod that you're holding Vesio.
Yeah,
no, that's I'm holding Vesio as well because I think that they were so the role wasn't very good for them last week in the fact that the ball wasn't down there, and Carlton, I think a couple of tougher matchups coming up. There's going to be a lot of the ball back there against Brisbane and Hawthorn, and I should say Hawthorn then Brisbane. And they take all the kick-ins. That's the other thing I'm looking at as well. That not thinking that they're going to go and average 70 and be a top 5 forward, but I think they can average around that 50 mark, at least for a couple of weeks, and maybe get a little bit of cash going, and then maybe looking to trade them out in a couple of weeks' time. But you can trade if you've got a better option you're looking at, particularly if you can go all the way up. Like if you're going a big mid down, you might be able to go stun it to Goldsworthy and DV up to a Woodland and do a bit of a double upgrade in your forward line, which could also be another option you look at. Tim Hall, how do you feel about trading out Stannett, Schultz, and Window to Harris, Woodland, and Goldsworthy? Well, that's fairly similar to what we were just chatting about, but I'm ticking that off. I think that's a couple of very nice trades. I'm doing the Schultz to Havana Harris trade. So, JR, Emma McDonald, Emma Clark, Stannett to Goldsworthy, and Rowbottom to Painter. What do we think, Jono? You ticking those off?
Yeah, I think generally they're all pretty solid trades. I always worry about, I suppose when you're going down from someone like Rowbottom, how do I put this?
I-
You kind of, if you're spending down all that cash, I kind of want to make sure that I've still got some solid scorers on field. So I think I would be okay with that, assuming Fish is the one that's on field, not Painter. If Painter's got to play on field, then I'd be very hesitant to do that.
Yeah. JR, just as a little, so I've switched to doing slightly different trades, but similar to yours. So I'm doing Gardner to Painter, but then that's allowing me to do Window to Goldsworthy and Vesio to Woodland. So I'm getting two upgrades on the other side of that big downgrade. I'm hoping we'll end up with more points. So I wouldn't probably do the rookie switch between McDonald and Amber Clark, because you're going to have so much cash in the bank from that. You're going to have 400k in the bank. So you might be able to do McDonald up to someone like a Montana Ham or a Woodland.
Or get Patricios as well instead of
get Patricios. Given I'm probably bigger on going all the way down and fielding Fish than Patricios, but that's just that's my thoughts. But you can just I would want more points back from that big downgrade than what those trades are.
Yeah. Ghost Bakes, I also have McDonald from the Dogs and Kosh. I have to field one. Who would you pick? Or would it be better to keep Centra and upgrade one of them to Bogue or Clark? I actually think probably McDonald to Bogue would be a trade that I'd potentially look at, Jono. Would you prefer to do that and hold Centra and field Bogue?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think both of these players are ones that I would trade out before Centra. So I think I'd do that for sure.
Yeah. Taj Thomas, Heath or Thomas for heads? It's a good question, Tom. Are you just paying up for Thomas or Heath, who's a little bit cheaper that look pretty good?
They're similar, aren't they? They're similar?
Heath's about
100k.
Yeah, about 100.
I think I'd go for Heath because Heath's going up in cash. So I'd get the cheaper one who's going up in cash and has a great midfield role. I'm not expecting 100 every week, but I think I'm going for the one who's going up in cash.
Yeah. We'll do a bit of rapid fire, I reckon, because we've got about probably 5 minutes or so before we'll wrap up, just because we'll give people a few minutes to fit around with their teams. JR says, who to field, O'Shea or Beck Ott, Jono?
I think I'd field O'Shea. I think last week was disappointing, but I think they're better than that. So I'd be
good second half.
O'Shea.
As an O'Shea owner, good second half. I'm fielding O'Shea overall, personally.
Yeah. Brisbane Bloods, who to keep, Vesio or Stannett, Tom?
I literally have this conundrum. I think I don't know. I will be asking Bales and Jono as soon as this ends because I don't know the answer to this question. I've got to keep one of them. I don't know which one to keep.
I'm leaning Stannett because she's going to lose more cash and Vesio's making more cash, and you'll have the ability to have a bit of money in the bank for next week if you need to trade DV. That's probably where I'm currently leaning, but it's probably one that it's a tricky call. So, we'll have to see. I'll just sort of quick touch on this one from Andrew before we continue the rapid fire. So, Jono, Andrew says, with stoppages down, do we think scoring is going to be down even more for mid primos? I think we saw last week a few of those transition mids. I don't know, we didn't see the scores, but like the Riddells, Gardners, Contis, those ones that can get that ball through transition, I think are going to score quite well. Do you think that we see round one normally is a lower scoring round, and we sort of see a bit of normality go into rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5? Do you think that's just going to be the case and those mids are going to keep scoring well?
I think scoring as a whole is up this season compared to the average on last season and round one on last year. I know it wasn't necessarily the spread that we would expect. So I think
my team doesn't look like the scoring's gone up.
No, it doesn't feel that way. But I think the rucks are down and the stoppage clearance players are down. But as a whole, scoring is still going up. I think we're going to see maybe an adjustment in the type of mid primos that we see, but I think the scoring ceiling is going to be there still. So I think it's just going to be a little bit of an adjustment until we see sort of consistency out of players. But I think the scoring's still going to be there come the end of the year. Yeah.
And that's why I'm worried to trade these primo mids, right? Because they scored mid-90s last week, like Riddell and Gardner, but Riddell copped a bit of a stoppage tag at times from Caitlin Thorne, which I know me and Tom were talking about last night, but a bit stiff, Caitlin Thorne, I thought, getting dropped. I thought she probably should have held her spot. And then Laura Gardner had a really good first quarter and last quarter. The second and third quarters were not as good, but even if one of them is half decent, that's a 110, 120 sort of score. So that's why I'm probably less keen to trade a big mid, but there you go. We'll keep rapid fire. Zeffy, I'll just say Zeph. I'll say that. Should I be worried that Goldsworthy's starting full forward on the AFLW fixtures website? No, you should, because she's warming up the mid, so that's fine. She's always named at full forward pretty much. So Scorched Earth, I've gone Paxman to Ott to free up cash for Goldsworthy, and then gone Stant to Goldsworthy, Kosh to Bow. Do they get ticks from you, Tom?
Yes. Yeah, they do. They're good. I like them.
Eliza, Rowbottom, Brown, and Stannett to Rashid, Ebert, and Goldsworthy, leaves Vesio on field. Or go Stannett, Vesio, and Brown to McLaughlin, Clark, and Ebert. So, Jono, where would you go for Eliza there?
Yeah, I guess this worries me. Just probably going back to what Tom was saying before on you're ending up with fewer premiums basically across this. I think it's probably in a situation where you're ending up with a lot of cash behind. So you take that Stan at Vesio Brown situation. McLaughlin, Clark, and Ebert are all rookies who I'm not sure how many of them you'd trust to score well every week. I think McLaughlin and Clark, particularly this week, should be okay, but long term, who knows if you want them on field. And then in the first scenario, if you're getting rid of Rowbottom and Stannett, I think you'd want to end up with two forwards. That would be my major concern. So I'm getting rid of Rowbottom and Stannett, but I'm bringing in Goldsworthy and Shelley Heath at the moment, and I'm pretty comfortable that feels like I'll be getting in good numbers there. But if you're going Rashid and Ebert, how consistently are they going to be scoring? It's hard to say.
Yeah. The only thing I could say that Eliza might be doing is the only way I could see banking a lot of cash is if they're trying to get maybe Mimstrom next week, if they're just trying to part next week, because you've got a good run in a couple of weeks. That's the only way I could say. Otherwise, spend a bit more cash and maybe, get a Shelley Heath or even upgrade like to a Patrikios instead or something like that. Lee Everett, thoughts on Barnett as an option, Tom? So obviously one that we haven't spoken about, but looked good in the rut last week.
Sorry, what was that question?
Barnett. Thoughts on Barnett as an option?
Yeah, absolutely fine. Lots of scoring from contested marks, which is a little bit of a worry. The Carlton Ruck duo is quite tough to score against, so that might be supplemented with a few more hit outs and a few more stoppage points. So I think it's definitely not a bad play, one that I considered this week as well. So I definitely would tick it off if you're keen. Yeah.
Sorry, Jack, as well. Sent us through a super chat about 9 minutes ago. So apologies, mate. We'll get that up on the screen for you. But thank you for the super chat, mate. It's going Stannett to Ponta, Centra to Painter, and Vesio to Clark. So, John, I know me and Tom have talked about this. We saw Danielle Ponta in the low 500s, and we're looking at that because she dropped a heap of cash last week. Could be someone to look at. Could you go early and go this week?
Oh, it'd take a bold man. I really am not confident. I mean, someone who's put up a 14 last week, I think they'll try and get her more on the ball, but it just seems so risky.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I could jump on this week, but something I'm definitely keeping an eye on, though. Something I'm definitely keeping on moving forward. That's for sure. So, yeah, Jack, I don't know if I could go there straight away, but something to keep an eye on if you're not going. What do we got? Ashwin said, didn't see the game. Laura Stone, 40% CBAs. Is she an option? And yes, Jono said she's an option before. So you'd still go McLaughlin over Laura Stone, though, Jono?
I think I am for the moment, just because McLaughlin has sort of shown that she can accrue a bit more of the footy. Stone is far more of an impact player. So what I'm keen to watch for this week is to see how much of that Jazz Fleming role she takes. And then if it's as good as I'm hoping for, then I think she'll score well enough that I can jump on next week still.
Yeah. What do we got here? So Alex, trade Centra out this week and see if she can make money and bring back in next week. That is definitely an option.
Yeah.
I'm looking in a group chat because Liam is at the game and hearing that, and Eloise saying that Centra pointing towards a hip after
and warming up away from the group. I might be going back. I might be going back, guys.
Unbelievable. I'm not going to change. I know if I change, she'll score a 90, so I'll leave it. But it's been
I think we should end up here, Bales, because we've got 3 minutes till start, and I'm a little bit frazzled myself of what I want to do.
Yeah. Oh, we will wrap up there. So apologies, we're going to get to every question. If you do want a guaranteed answer, sort of moving forward, like I know Jack did, there is a super chat button there, like for next week if you'd like to do that. But I'm hoping that next week we can get to all your questions. So apologies, we couldn't get to them all this week. But quickly as we wrap up, Jono, your trades this week and your captain, because I'm assuming we've probably got the same captain.
Yeah, so I'm sticking with Marinoff as the captain, back her in. If it was just the one quarter where she went an 8, so happy to trust that she'll bounce back. Going Rowbottom, Stannett, and Grace Koch out, bringing in Shelley Heath, Zi Goldsworthy, and Hayley McLaughlin.
Yeah, I like it, mate. Tom, your trades and your captain?
Currently, with 2 minutes to go, it's Gardner, Vesio, window out to Painter, Woodland, and Goldsworthy.
Yeah, I like it, mate. And my current trades, I am going Schultz to Harris, Stannett to Goldsworthy, and I've gone Brooke Tonnen out for McLaughlin to get the better rookie. And I just worried that with a few Crows defenders in, that role might not be as good. And the ball was down there a bit last week, but still couldn't quite get. 44 is not too bad, but I think McLaughlin could go quite well moving forward. Tough matchup. She still scored quite well. And then Marinoff is my captain as well. So, but thank you everyone for tuning in on a Saturday morning. We'll be keeping this a little bit more regular, probably on a Thursday or Friday. I'll chat with Liam and see what the free kick on X. We don't want to clash. We'd like to go the separate days, but we will have a bit more regular scheduling because the men's season will be done besides finals from next week. So looking forward to that, having a bit of regular scheduling. But Jono, thanks for jumping on with the Saturday morning, mate. Where can the people find you on the Free Kick Pod?
So at W Free Kick Pod is on X, is probably the best place to find us. Also on Instagram. I'm Free Kick Jono on Twitter. And you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, Free Kick.
Yeah, beautiful.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, I think we've lost Bales.
We lost Bales. We've lost Bales. Oh, he's back.
Computer froze. I was saying, did you hear what? I don't know if you hear what I said, but I said thanks, Jono, for jumping on, and I said, Tom, where can the people find you? But
you can find me. You can find me on X at Tom_Hales_. And hit me up with any questions if you want. I'm not an expert. Jono and the Free Kick guys are much more experty than me. So make sure you give them a listen.
Beautiful. Thank you, mate. And you can find me at BAILSDT across the socials and us at AFL Fantasy Fans on X. Good luck in round 2. We'll be recapping the round for you probably tomorrow night. Me and Tom will discuss that, but we'll let everyone know. But until then, good luck this week, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. So thanks, everyone. Have a good weekend. See ya.